Good morning and welcome to Living Local 15. I'm your host, Jessica Williams. As we roll into Grammy's weekend, I visit Sweetwater Recording Studio and speak with a couple of music producing engineers. And later in the show, I have a treat for you. We are decorating Valentine's Day cookies, and it's a lot of fun for the kids or adults. Let's get started.
Fashion, food, and fun. You're watching Living Local 15 with your host, Jessica Williams.
I am at Sweetwater Studios, the premier recording studio in the Midwest. They bring in the top talent. They have the best equipment to produce amazing albums. I'm going to talk to an engineer and learn more. Come on. I am chatting with Sean Dilley, who is the chief engineer here at Sweetwater. Hi.
How you doing?
Doing great, thank you. Well, I'm excited to learn more about this place and your role. So give us a little overview about Sweetwater Studios.
Cool. Yeah, so Sweetwater Studios has effectively been around since 1979. Chuck started the company as a remote recording studio, so we've been running this side of the business since the late 70s. So its current iteration here on the Sweetwater campus in Fort Wayne has been here since 2008. So we were lucky enough to have purpose-built studios in 2008. So there's Studio A, B, and C here that we'll take a look at today.
Yes.
And looking forward to sort of showing you around and what we do here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, quite an establishment here in the city. Beautiful building, just a really cool vibe walking in, very laid back, and a creative space as it should.
Yeah.
So share with me about your role. What do you do as chief engineer?
So I oversee all of the technical aspects of what goes on in the studio. Okay. I handle most of the recordings that come in here, so I engineer and produce records with different artists. We do a lot of marketing content as well, so when we have visiting artists, I'll take lead on that. So on top of that, make sure everything's functioning properly, and we do a lot of business development. So we're always looking for artists to work with and finding local bands or national or international level artists to come make records here at Sweetwater Studios.
Okay. So you come and they're able to come and really just use the facility, or you all do the whole shebang from beginning to end to make the record?
We can take a project from start to finish. We work with songwriters, producers, and musicians. So we have in-house session musicians. So if you don't have people that play in your band or you need someone to play something, we have those people available to be part of a project. And then we can take your project from the inception of a song, concept to a finished product.
Nice.
We're going to walk through our Dolby Atmos mix room, which is the latest sort of deliverable format that Apple and Tidal have been using. So we can take pretty much an idea into a final Atmos mix out the door here at Sweetwater Studios. So.
Nice. Okay. Well, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
Come on. So Sean, share with me, you all just went through a remodel of your studios. What was that process like?
So it doesn't really look like that on the outside, but the internal parts of all the studios have recently changed. So we're going to go walk through some of the rooms. We did technical upgrades in all the rooms, new computers, recently installed Dolby Atmos capabilities in Studio B, which is a pretty cool thing we'll probably talk about in a little bit here. Installed a new recording console in Studio A, and so just an overhaul of the technical capabilities of the space.
Yeah, so this here, which studio are we in?
We're in Studio C, so this is the smallest of the three studios. So in the recording process, this studio gets used a lot for vocal overdubs, songwriting demos, and things like that. We're able to record vocals isolated. We mix in stereo here, so we have a great set of studio monitors and the capabilities of sort of doing many different things in this space.
Okay, great. So share with me about the process of building and making an album, a track, a song, all of the above.
Yeah, no, it's a long, tedious process, but it's quite a fun thing to do. It starts with hopefully a great song and a group of great songs, putting them together, and So, you know, sometimes we'll come into a studio space like this and work with the artists and figure out a little bit of pre-production of what exactly we want to do with the songs and how we would treat them. So, you know, loaded up with some cool gear from Sweetwater.com. We're able to do a lot of really fun stuff in this space. So continuing on with the process, usually once we kind of get a framework of the songs figured out, we sort of take that out of this space and start working on things in Studio A, where we would actually record whole groups where we can record drums and keyboards and live instruments. So
nice. Wow. That requires a lot of space.
It sure does.
To get all of the instruments in. And then you have like these smaller spaces. So these are just like sound track spaces where you just go in and do audio?
Yeah, so this is where we would have a singer or a guitar player, fairly well isolated, so when we close these heavy doors, we don't hear any of the noise from the outside or anything from what we're listening to in the control room. So isolated so we can get really great recordings in here, and so we have a couple of these spaces connected here between studios B and C. There's a window between the rooms so we can have two different musicians isolated playing together while we're recording. So,
well, you know, I'm gonna have to take y'all inside of here because this microphone is amazing. Makes you wanna do 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 do. How fun is this? Like, so they're just in here jamming, and then you have the little windows. So do they connect? Are the sound people on one side and the musicians on the other?
Yeah, everyone's on headphones, so they all have their own mixes, and they get to hear what's going on.
Okay. Oh, how fun. I love singing, but I can't. But I always grab a mic. Okay, so we have the other sound studio here, and then this beautiful room. Wow.
Yeah. So this is
wow.
We feel like it's the future of music. This is our Dolby Atmos mix room. We have 14 speakers in this space, so we can mix for Dolby Atmos, Apple Spatial Audio, and it's a pretty cool new format. So we had our friend Mike Miller, who's coming to do some workshops with us, who did the Harry Styles record and did some stuff with SZA, and so we have some connections to some people who've worked on some Grammy-nominated records. So we're pretty excited to you know, have some friends that are up for some cool awards this weekend.
Yes, that is really exciting. So you have to share with me some of the biggest names who have been inside of the studios to produce their records.
Well, so we've had a lot of people come through. We were looking at some pictures on the wall. Chick Corea was here years ago. Yeah, we've had some guitar icons come through, like Eric Johnson, who's a very iconic guitar player. Paul Gilbert's coming in a few weeks to do a masterclass recording workshop with us. Kenny Wayne Shepherd is coming back. He was in the fall here making a record with us. We're trying to branch out into more stuff. We are doing a lot of different things these days, but it ends up being a little bit more focused around the gear that the people are using and sort of our connection to Sweetwater retail. So.
Okay, yes. Okay, wonderful crossover. I love it. Well, thank you so much for giving me a tour.
Yeah, no problem.
And checking this place out. So you have to stay tuned for the workshops and just all the events and all the information that they have available. We'll make sure it's listed below. We'll be right back.
Follow us on social media at Living Local 15.
My next guest turned her passion for baking into her purpose. I'm really excited to speak with Jessica Wagner, who is the owner of the Hazelnut Baking Company. Hi, Jessica.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yes.
So first, your breads are so beautiful. I mean, just the design, the size, and the texture of them caught my eye.
Yeah.
And so I want to learn more about your baking company and how you started this whole business.
Yeah, thank you. So 3 years ago, I decided to go to pastry school while I was working full-time right before the pandemic hit. So January of 2020.
Wow.
It was really just as a hobby, kind of something to do for me. And then as sort of the next year and a half went on, I became pregnant with my daughter Hazel, and how I ended up naming the company. Yes. And so then I decided that it would be a great time to sort of just explore a new avenue.
Okay, perfect. And so share with me about some of the services or types of products that you offer.
Yeah, thank you. So my top sellers would be the sourdough bread here, and I have that just in kind of the packaging that I do. And then something that kind of happened on a fluke but has become a top seller are oatmeal cream pies.
Listen, those look so good. They remind me of the, what is it, the Little Debbie?
Yes.
Yes, except those are very high in
Yes.
calories and sweets.
And so-
are these healthier?
Maybe a little bit. They're not as processed. That's it, yes. And these are spiced apple.
Ooh.
And so in the fall I had pumpkin as well. So those were really popular. So
Okay.
I'll try to do seasonal flavors
Yes.
just to make it a little bit more exciting.
That's fun.
And then these are baking kits that people can do at home. So this is a sea salt and herb beer bread. So all you need is butter and beer, and you can make your own bread at home.
Look at that.
So, because that's the part about baking is people want to do it at home too.
Right.
They don't just have to buy stuff to do it. So that's
Yeah.
what I really kind of like about it.
Especially with making bread, because it's like, do you need yeast?
Yeah,
and that
thankfully-
type of stuff?
With beer, you don't because you're adding. Yes,
it has
it's in
yeast.
it. Yes.
Oh, that's
Yep,
so smart.
That's exactly
okay,
right.
But the important question is,
Yeah.
if I mix up that, will it look like this?
It won't. It might take a little time. Yeah, it'll look closer to maybe this loaf.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
yes.
okay. That
Yep.
takes extra skill there.
Yeah, yes. And so I sell out of my home. I'm a cottage baker, and then also on Market Wagon, which does
Yes.
local delivery.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm excited because we're going to do something fun. So you have your baking items, but you also provide some DIY kits
Yes.
that people can do at home. And so what we have in front of us are these Valentine's Day boxes. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. So this is the perfect idea to do cookie decorating with your kids.
Yeah, it's
or with-
super fun.
For yourself or whatever. Like, I love it. So we're going to do this right now.
Sure. All right, I'll show you what's inside here. So the first one, it's a little bag that we have, and these are some decorating tools, and then I always do themed items. So there are Valentine's Day fortune cookies. They're just, yes, and so there's a little fortune in each one of these.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
Cute.
there's decorating tools, so especially for kids. What we would call these, if you're decorating cookies, are scribes.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you can use these to decorate and move the icing around.
Okay, yes.
Yep, so it kind of
Perfect.
can help get a good shape to the cookie.
Okay.
And then you have 3 bags of icing in each.
Oh,
Yeah, and so for Valentine's
So
Day, we have
cute.
pink, red, and white.
I love this. And a good amount of icing.
Yeah, and this icing, it's royal icing, so you could reuse it. You could
cute.
store it in the refrigerator to reuse.
And then you have all the cookie shapes. So you bake and prepare and cut the
Yes.
shapes so these cookies say love.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And
Okay.
it saves a lot of time then for people too. Yep, and then sprinkles as well.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's get at it. You're
Sure.
going to teach me some technique.
Yes.
Great. Okay,
Yeah.
so I see that there's different types that you have. So you have from XOs to love to hearts.
Yeah.
That's so nice. Okay, so what should we do? I'll do the love.
Okay, yes, and I'll do a heart shaped here.
Okay, perfect.
Or actually, yeah, I'll do this one with the heart in the middle.
Okay, and what's the technique? How do you just...
So I'll show you a fun technique that people can do at home, and it's really easily.
Okay.
Probably easiest on the heart that you have there with love. And you can start with just the white color.
Okay.
And what we're gonna do, it's called outlining. So I kind of twist my bag at the top just to make sure there's nice pressure. And then I squeeze a little on the plate just to make sure it's coming out okay, and just to get a feel for how quickly it comes out.
Okay, yes.
Yep, and then I'm gonna start here right at the edge.
Okay, and outline it.
Yep, and see when you squeeze, you kind of let the icing fall behind you. But then what you want to do is just start in the middle, and you want to squeeze a little bit more pressure. This is called flooding. So you're literally flooding the icing.
I'm completely filling it in?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
What I would do now is grab that scribe tool. My cookie's a little bit bigger, but
Okay.
we'll show it here. And you can kind of push the icing to the places you want it to go.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I just push it. Yeah, exactly right.
Oh, it's like a toaster strudel.
Yes, it does look like that. And then I'll show you the technique once you've kind of done that, what's called wet on wet. And so you're just gonna make, it's a really cool design that's fun to do, and kids will have a good time doing it.
Look at that. Smooth as a...
Yes.
Love it. Okay.
Okay, so then you'll have your other 2 colors, and you're going to make lines. So I'm just making lines like this. And this is great. You can really do this for any theme, St. Patrick's Day, Christmas.
And this is fun too. Like, I am really enjoying just getting to be creative.
Yeah, and what's nice is you don't have to make all the dough, make all the
Right.
icing.
You do the
That
hard
part
work
is
for
done.
us.
Yeah. And so then with your scribe tool, you take it and you drag. I'll just show this.
How cute.
And so you drag down. Just gonna wipe it off here. And then I drag back up the opposite direction, and it kind of, yeah, perfect. So it makes those lines, yep, and then you go straight back.
Oh.
And so then it really kind of blends those colors and you get a neat pattern.
Yes. Oh, look at that, like
Yeah.
a marble. Looks so professional.
Yes. And then if you want to
love
put
it.
sprinkles on it, you can.
Okay.
Just, and I know, of course, kids
Oh,
love
look at this.
sprinkles. There's metallics
Silver,
in those,
yes.
yes.
Too cute.
Yeah, perfect. I
Love
like those
it.
colors.
Wonderful.
Yes.
How fun is this?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to let me know, how
Yeah.
can people order these kits?
Yes, thank you. So on my website, which is the hazelnutbaking.com, or on Market Wagon. So Market Wagon is delivery, so they have a cutoff of Tuesday at midnight to get Thursday delivery.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Jessica, for
Yes.
coming in and sharing this amazing information with us.
Yeah, thank you.
If you would like more information about the Hazelnut Baking Company and how to place your order for their Valentine's Day decorating boxes, we'll be sure to have that information listed below, and we'll be right back. Joining me now is Hayden Flack, who is a sales engineer here at Sweetwater. Hey, Hayden.
Hey, how are
How's
you?
it going?
Doing well.
Good. Well, I'm so excited to chat with you and really learn about your world a bit. So you are a sales engineer, but you are also an audio engineer.
Yes.
And you are a Grammy Award winner.
Well, I worked on a Grammy that won or I worked on an album that won a Grammy.
So what does that make you?
Grammy adjacent. There's two different ways you could do it. So you can work on an album, and then if the artist wins, then kind of everybody who helped make the record gets a nod there. But you can also be nominated as Engineer of the Year, which is a very different level, which unfortunately I don't have, but maybe one day.
Yeah, we're working on it. We're setting into motion right now.
Yes.
So let's start off by talking about your current job. So you are a sales engineer. What does that entail?
We kind of do the other side of what a studio engineer would do. So we're not in the studio making tracks, but we are designing the recording studios for the clients, putting those systems together down to the wire and each little connector, and kind of communicating that to the client, making sure they understand how to hook everything up when they get it, how to use it, and then supporting them in the back end once they get it installed.
Yes, and Sweetwater really distributes nationwide.
Yeah, all over the world, really. We're definitely the biggest dealer within the nation, but in many other countries, we're also the biggest dealer as well, because they don't have local retail establishments to take care of kind of the technical nature of what we do. It's a little bit more involved than your typical mom and pop retail store, you know. So we put together large systems and ship them wherever they need them.
Okay, and so through your services and your job in particular, do you get to do that setup process locally? Do you travel around and help
It can
people
be.
get
Yeah,
situated?
so just depends on the job. You know, most of it is designing systems in-house here at our Fort Wayne campus, and then presenting those systems to the client, shipping the goods there for a local installer or the client themselves to install. But we do have an entire installation component of the company called All Pro Sound that builds some of the best studios in the world.
Wow.
And we can also go out on site if it makes sense ourselves, just to either help them finalize the items they need or help install those.
Okay, and currently in your role as an audio engineer, what do you do?
That I do a lot less of these days because I'm mainly building studios for other people, but what that usually entails is the front end would be the recording process of capturing everything in a way that you can capture it cleanly and edit it later. And then there's the mixing process, which is kind of combining all those recordings and leveling them together to make them sound good. And then mastering is the final polish on that, which is kind of getting them ready for each medium. So when you release to different outlets like Apple Music or Spotify, they all have different requirements for how loud things can be and certain EQ curves you have to meet, and mastering is that final polish to get them to each outlet. So anywhere in those three categories, whatever needs to be done. Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It is, yeah. It's a lot of fun too.
Right?
Though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because it really is a creative job that allows for you just to bring in different aspects. So what do you love most about it?
You don't have to do most of the creative process, which is what makes it awesome. So really talented people bring you really good music, and you kind of just get to play video games on it and make it sound good, you know? So it's a lot of fun, but you're also not, like an artist has the whole, how do I come up with my next record thing, and we don't have to deal with that part, we just get to clean it up.
Yeah, and so with you working on a Grammy-winning album, it was for the artist Lecrae.
Yes.
Yes, and the album was Gravity. And so tell me about that process of working on that album and building it, and just your role and contribution to the final product.
Sure. I definitely wasn't the only one involved. There were many, many engineers on, just like any modern record these days, there's usually at least a dozen or more people involved in the engineering process, because they use different studios over a period of months, and each studio has their own people. So I shared that with many people, but my role at the time was a staff engineer at a studio called Music House, which was in Atlanta. And we had a unique setting. We were a country club home that was very nice, that was converted into multiple studios on each floor. And we would rent it out for months at a time instead of just an afternoon. And people would actually come and live in the studio and then record with me. So it was a fun experience to work with them, but we also got to kind of live together for a few weeks and get to know each other. So it was a good time. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so if someone is interested in this type of path and this job, what advice would you give to someone who wants to get into sound and audio and sales engineering?
Be ready to grind really hard. You're probably going to have to do a little bit of work with no money for a while. There's a lot of interning involved in getting into the right places, but if you're willing to spend time and be respectful and learn a lot, then it's something that really anybody can get into if you have the time to spend on it. But the entry portion, and of course you can go to school for it and get a jump start, but even if you go to the best school in the world, you don't just come out of it and get a job at the best studio. You kind of got to do a little due diligence and spend some time with the right people in the right places. So just be ready to not make money for a little bit, but if you're good at it, it'll come. Yeah.
And then you build up, and then you work at a place like Sweetwater.
That's right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Hayden,
No
for
problem.
chatting and kind of giving us an inside look at your job.
I have fun. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Living Local 15, proudly driven by the Kelly Automotive Group.
Thanks so much for joining me today. And remember, if you missed an episode of Living Local 15, you can head over to WANE.com/Living Local 15. And as always, it's never too late to live your best life, so start living it today. And I'll see you here tomorrow. Bye-bye.